Hello everyone, it's Blockchain Noob. Today we have interview with Ala from Stellar. Hello.
Hi, everyone. This is Ella.
So maybe we'll start with a short introduction of yourself. What is your role in Stellar?
Sure. I'm the director of partnerships at stellar.org, focusing on the Asian market. Usually, I'm based in Shanghai, China, but I also travel quite frequently among different Asian countries.
Okay, nice. So I will share with you guys the plan for the interview. We'll start with some noob questions that explain the main idea behind the Stellar, how it works, and what kind of problems it is solving. After that, we'll go to some deeper questions already received from Reddit community. And also all of you can ask your questions in the chat. And at the end, I will read the most popular topics to answer that. And if you are new at my channel, it's mostly about the interviews with blockchain-based projects. So if you want to see more this kind of things, just subscribe my channel. And if you are interested in any particular project, you can leave the name in the comment. So let's start with the basic thing. So why Stellar exists? What is the main problem you want to solve?
Sure. So a little bit background on Stellar, right? Stellar is founded by Jet McCaleb, who's been involved in the distributed system technology for a very long time. He created eDonkey back in 2000, which is a peer-to-peer file sharing software, which I happened to use a lot when I was in middle school and high school in China. And then when Bitcoin was, founded in 2008, and he became very fascinated about the project and the idea, and quickly got pretty involved in the cryptocurrency slash blockchain space. He founded Ripple, he co-founded Ripple, and then in 2014 left Ripple and started Stellar. Right. When he was thinking about looking at the world and what blockchain technology can be utilized to solve real world issues, he identified payments, more specifically cross assets payments, would be a pretty obvious use case to utilize blockchain technology. And that's what he did with Stellar, right? The idea behind Stellar is we want to build this internet level protocol for cross assets payments, the same way SMTP for email and TCP and IP for the internet. So the Stellar network, is we want it to be the behind scene fabric or behind the scene glue that connects different payment networks, existing financial institutions, companies, and existing infrastructures, so that all these different assets can be interoperable on these existing financial infrastructure. So that's the idea and what Stellar is built for.
Okay, so maybe right now let's focus for 2 or 3 minutes about how it works. On your website, you can find what's like anchors, market makers. So if I want to make a money transfer, let's say from Thailand to States to you, so how it works in the Stellar network?
Sure. So Stellar protocol works behind the scene, right? We work with enterprises. So in this use case, let's assume that the bank that you use in Thailand and the bank I'm using in the States are connected to Stellar already. And those entities, we call them anchors. Anchors is the entity that issues digital assets on the Stellar network. So in this case, your bank in Thailand are issuing Thai baht, and my bank is issuing USD. That's backed by these two specific entities. right? So as you initiate this transaction, your bank also process the transaction and request it on the Stellar network. So the way assets are being converted on the Stellar network is we have this built-in decentralized exchange where people's, or we call them market makers, are updating their order books. So there will be a market maker that's trading between TaiBot and Lumen, and then some other market maker, perhaps the anchor itself, will be trading Lumen and USD on the network. And the network have the way, we call it pathfinding, to automatically identify the most efficient, the best rate, going from your TaiBot to USD on the network with all these existing order books on the same shared ledger. So let's assume that these two order books are identified as the best rate. The whole process will be one atomic transactions, meaning that it's either from TaiBot to XLM to USD. It's one transaction. Transactions are not going to be stuck in the middle. It's either pass or fail. So that's all how assets are converted on the Stellar network. And then you as my bank in the US as an anchor will be responsible for debiting the USD onto my real bank
account. Okay, my next questions are about the market makers. So who can be the market maker, and if I want to be one, what I have to do?
Yeah, so market makers can be different entities. Sometimes banks or remittance companies, they can be both anchors and market makers. And sometimes a third-party liquidity providers can also suit in that role. And recently, Stellar also have a full-profit arm called Lightyear, and Lightyear will be providing that market-making activities in selected corridors as well.
Okay, so the next question that was quite popular on Reddit is when your market maker will be up and running.
So currently, Lightyear is already making a market in Philippines. And I think that coming up soon in 2018, we will have more market makers on the network with different corridors, depending on the liquidity situation.
Okay, and one of the things that I like in Stellar and in Lumen is that transactions are fast and cheap. And I think that this is the thing that not only solves the problem of cross-border payments, but it's also quite useful for traders. Right now, when we have problems with transactions on Bitcoin or even on Ethereum, and not so many people know that then can convert their Bitcoin or Ether to Lumens and make this transfer quite cheaper and faster. So my question is, do you plan some marketing actions to educate people that can do this and use Lumens to make the transactions even between the exchanges? And if you are talking with exchanges, to be listed on them, more of them, and especially if you try to convince them to create the pass with the Lumens and US dollars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. So we're definitely in terms of educating the market of the benefits of using the Stellar network. We're definitely making a big push with the new marketing director coming on board. The past few months, we've seen a great adoption in terms of our community size, and it's great and encouraging for us to see like people are actually educating each other and spread the word on our behalf. But from our organization standpoint, we're also making more initiatives around spreading the word. Stellar as a decentralized exchange and what benefits SAP can provide through, whether on the cross-border payment space or, just general token launch. So coming up soon, we are rolling out an ambassador program that we encourage people around the world to set up different meetup events around the world and spread the word on our behalf. And in terms of exchanges, definitely we think it's very critical for Lumen to have a trading pair with the fiat currencies. And this is something we're actively working on and doing outreach to as well. And I think that other than the centralized exchange part, we are also very focused on developing our decentralized exchange, because we really believe that that's the future of cryptocurrency, having that interoperability between different, whether it's cryptocurrency or fiat currency or other tokens. So we are very focused on getting more assets issued on Stellar, and hopefully more fiat assets that are issued by licensed financial institutions, and getting more market makers on our decentralized exchange and create a deeper order book. So that would be our major focus for 2018.
Okay, and that's nice. You mentioned decentralized exchange, and from my perspective, I see you have one. BitShares also have it is itself decentralized exchange. The same with Waves, and I think the thing that we really miss right now is that in all these exchanges, the tokens from the mother blockchains are quite easy to be tradable. That they by default, but you cannot trade the assets from the others, or it's quite complicated. You have to stake some of your tokens to do this. So do you have plans to make like cross-border communication that can be done trustless? So for example, connect Stellar network with Ethereum or Bitcoin blockchain and transfer the tokens from one to another?
So the way currently Stellar network interoperate with other blockchain is you would have an anchor, right? That's issuing. For example, we have a Bitcoin anchor on Stellar.
Yeah, but in this case, you need a third party, this anchor. But you are also thinking about to do this like trustless way, only the technology, not entity.
Right. So currently, you do need a counterparty backing for other, non-Lumen assets on the Stellar network. But we are also, in the process of integrating with the Lightning network. So that's another solution to have, interoperability between other public chains.
Okay, that's very nice. So we are at the end of the year. So if you can sum up the 2017 in Stellar in development, what was the biggest achieved in the project, and what is the biggest problem that you are still struggling and want to solve in the next year?
Sure. Yeah. So I think 2017 was a really exciting year for us. We've seen, an increasing amount of awareness of the project, and also in terms of adoption from the remittance companies, and also, our partnerships with IBM, and that give us inroads into the bigger, the banking world as well. And I think that for 2018. Our main focus is really, making sure that those companies are, successfully integrated onto the Stellar network, and start to process production level transactions using our network. And as I mentioned earlier, getting our liquidities, up in our decentralized network is also a major focus.
Okay, my next question is about tokens that can be issued on the Stellar network. In Tokyo, in the conference, you mentioned that you also want to focus on ICOs to convince projects. to maybe not always use Ethereum. Maybe they don't need that, and they can use different solutions like the Stellar. So what is the killing future of Stellar if I want to do ICO?
Sure. Yeah. So when we talk about token issuance or token launch, I think right now the majority of developers or projects, first thing they can think of is launch on the Ethereum blockchain, without giving it a deeper thinking around what features they actually need, right? So what we believe is there's not a good for everything kind of approach, right? So Ethereum is great in terms of its capabilities. So if you're a developer, from the technical perspective, it's definitely you would be falling in love with what Ethereum can provide. But if you apply their model or their capabilities into a real world scenario where you're trying to build a product that used by millions of people, they have certain pretty obvious issues, right? Like the scalability issues, time to process, and how costly it is, and also the security issue where even the smartest person on the world can have certain bugs.
There are some problems. Yeah,
exactly. So we've seen all that. So what we're saying is, if your token is launched as especially if your token is used as a payment mechanism for your use case or for a project, then you probably don't need a turning complete smart language capabilities. And for you to use Ethereum, you're not really enjoying the benefits, but you're kind of eating up the cost of having that options available. So what Stellar Network protocol can offer is it's a super straightforward and easy token launch platform. You don't, not like Ethereum where you need a smart contract to launch your token. It's primitive on the Stellar protocol. Even someone without training background like me can launch a token on Stellar. And secondly, it's the scalability. It's almost at zero cost, super fast, and that's something that attracts the most of the projects when they considering migrate from Ethereum to an alternative platform. And then the third thing is there is a decentralized exchange, right? So once you issue your token, you would have this immediate liquidity between all the other assets which live on the same shared ledger. And what we've been hearing from the projects out there is they also value the fact that we have like financial institutions that are anchors on the Stellar network. So for example, if you are an ad tech project, your token, will be used as payment layer on among participants in your network. But eventually, for example, the publisher will still need to redeem your token with whatever fiat currency they use, right? So having those interoperabilities within the same shared ledger is quite valuable to those projects as well. And then the last, the security aspects for Stellar, because there's always a trade-off between the security level and versus what you can do, right? So for us, because we have limited capabilities, but at the same time, it's super easy to audit, and you can use our simple contract capabilities to construct certain logics that you would require.
Okay, so from my perspective as a developer, it sounds that if my project is not like the centralized marketplace for something, when I need to read smart contracts, then maybe I should go to Stellar and do my ICO there, especially when my project is not so big, not so famous, and I will have problems to make liquidity for my token, especially at the beginning. Yes, please.
Go ahead.
So let's stay with ICOs. Can you tell us something about the projects that are running or plan to run ICO on Lumen?
Sorry, can you repeat that again? Can I tell you?
Can you say us something about the projects that are running or plan to run ICO on Lumen Network?
Sure. Yeah. So a few weeks ago, I think King Foundation, which is behind Kik, this messaging app, they announced that they will migrate their tokens from Ethereum to Stellar in Q2 next year. And some of the, not necessarily ICO project like Satoshi Pay, which is providing that nano payment, micropayment service, and they also start to adopt Stellar as a payment layer. Mobius, which is a new ICO project, they are going to launch their public sale token sale on Stellar as well, coming up soon. So I think we also have a lot of projects in the pipeline that are going to launch their token on Stellar coming up in 2018.
Okay, nice. Now let's move to the questions from the chat. I see that the main topic is about comparison and competition with Ripple. So if you can tell us what is the main difference, and it's really Ripple the competitor or not?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, we do have certain similarities with Ripple. In fact, like we do share the same co-founder. But I think from different aspects, from the technical level, Ripple and Stellar, we have different consensus mechanism. When after Jed founded Stellar, we rewrote the whole consensus mechanism from Ripple. It's a lot more scalable, and it's more secure. So I think governance is also a very big differentiator between Stellar and Ripple. Ripple is a more of a for-profit entity approach, whereas Stellar is a nonprofit approach. And the rationale behind it is we believe that as an internet level protocol, you really want to make sure it's governed by a neutral entities that's not working towards making the max of profit for their shareholders. And when different companies and entities adopt your protocol, they shouldn't be worried about someday you change your business model and start to charge a fee, or conflict of interest and etc. So that's also a big differentiator. And as we go out and talk to different players like banks around the world, this point is also perceived pretty positively among them. So yeah, and from the commercial perspectives, I guess Ripple is more focused on the banking side, whereas we have a more holistic approach, and starting from the smaller guys with the remittance companies, because we believe that real traction and real transactions are going to generate from those guys who have the the most pain points, and who also are faster to react and innovate. We are also involved in different aspects, such as we talked about, ICO and working with different technology companies to deploy the Stellar protocol.
Okay, the next project that almost everyone is asking me to ask you is the FairX. So what you can tell us about that?
Yeah, I would say that we do have a very active Reddit community. I learned I actually learned a lot from what our community discovered. It is a related project, I would say, and hopefully we will find more about it in 2018.
Can you say something more specific?
Yeah,
I see all the people are waiting for news about this. There's a chat only about this one.
Yeah, I mean, all I can say is, you know, what people have discovered on the Reddit forum. And yeah, there's nothing new that I can talk about today.
Okay, so maybe you sum up the things from Reddit. Maybe someone is not in their community so much. So if you can do this kind of summary from Reddit for the newbies.
Yeah, so there are community members that are, you know, find out about this website called Fairx, and it looks like it's a Stellar and IBM related project. Yeah, and there's certain theories around what this company or project is, and you know how it's gonna contribute to the Stellar network.
Okay,
But
so you can say only that.
Hopefully we'll see more of the details released out next year.
Okay, can you be more specific about the date? In the first quarter, second quarter?
That I don't really know.
Okay. So if we are talking about the next year, so maybe we can make some kind of prediction. What else people can expect from Stellar in the 2018?
Yeah, I think 2018 is going to be a very exciting year for Stellar, because with the pipeline that we have and partners or anchors who are already have agreement with us and in the process of integrations right now, we will see the real transaction volume on Stellar increase quite a lot next year. And with the market making activities and initiatives we have, the depth of the order book in decentralized network is also going to be increasing a lot. So yeah, I think that 2018 is going to be a super exciting year for us, and I encourage people to really subscribe our monthly newsletter. That's the best place where you find out what are the new partners that we sign up the past month, projects that's doing ICO on Stellar, and other cool initiatives that we have.
Okay, awesome. That was the last question. Thank you a lot for being with us, and wish you good luck in the next year. And hopefully we will be able to talk about Fairx in maybe next year. We'll make a special interview.
Well, hopefully we can talk about it in Thailand.
Yes, okay. So thank you very much. And thank you also, guys, for being with us, for all your questions. If you want more interviews like that, just subscribe the channel. If you are interested, especially in any project, just leave the name in the comment, and I will try to do this. Thank you guys a lot, and see you in the new year.
Yeah, thank you guys. Happy New Year.
See you.
Bye.